a few of them have actually taken sort of, well, they're pleased by what Liz Truss has said. And do you know what? As a society, maybe we are a bit lazy. What does Rishi Sunak think?
Well, I think what we want to focus on is the substantive policy. All politicians use different phrases to convey different sentiments. But what's really important in this cost of living crisis is what are the policies that Liz Truss is proposing with respect to actually helping people at this difficult time. And what I would say is that there's £60 billion worth of tax cuts. You've just reported the highest increase in inflation. We got inflation at over 10%. That has an effect on the economy. She said the Liz Truss campaign says that she doesn't want handouts. Then we're told that there's a mix and match approach. Then the Simon Clarke, my former colleague, the Chief Secretary, says that it would be odd to give some people handouts. And I just think there's a lack of clarity here. You can't have headlines and not deliver on the cost of living challenge so that people know where they are. People are feeling seriously anxious. And I worked closely with Rishi Sunak over the last 3 years. And what he did was say, well, what interventions are actually going to help the most vulnerable people? And I think about pensioners. There are 11 million pensioners. Most of them can't go out and earn extra money. They need clarity as they see this cost of living get worse. They need to know what the policy will be. And if you're not going to give handouts, the tax cuts won't help the pensioners. So what is it going to be? Is it going to be using pension credit? Well, only 1.4 million of 11 million pensioners use pension credit. So these are the important substantive issues that I hope Liz Truss will address today in the latest round of hustings.
One of the real challenges, though, is surely one of credibility, because you've just talked about the state of the economy. The man steering it over the last 3 years when you were working with him was Rishi Sunak.
Of course, and these were incredibly, almost unprecedented times. If you think of what happened with the COVID crisis, the need to bring in the furlough scheme, the loan schemes, various support schemes, and masses of additional borrowing to assist the public services to deliver the COVID vaccine programme. Those were unprecedented. What we then saw in February with what happened in Ukraine, another enormous hit to the economy. Now, we didn't anticipate those things. Nobody could have done. But what Rishi Sunak did is took action to help the most vulnerable. Now, talking, as Liz Truss does, about tax cuts, which obviously sounds fantastic and is popular, and we'd all like to get to that point. All Conservatives would like to get to that point. But if they involve unfunded hits to the public finances of £60 billion, and if they don't help the most vulnerable in our society, particularly pensioners and their lowest paid, then what are we doing? Our first responsibility as a government must be to look after the most vulnerable. That's the approach that Rishi Sunak took whilst he was in office. And it's yet to be clear, really, how Liz Truss will tackle that if she doesn't like these, what she describes as handouts. There's no other really effective way to get to the most vulnerable people directly and quickly, which, of course, is what they will need when this cap increases, and it's obviously predicted to go much higher into the autumn.